Good afternoon and welcome to the May 15, 2017 meeting of the Orlando City Council. We're going to begin today's proceedings with the invocation offered today by Dr. Bishop Sergey Amos Vanome, who wears many hats and holds several different titles. He's a bishop, an evangelist, a professor, a public speaker, a journalist, a Christian and family counselor, and a specialist in communication, a missionary, and a church planter. The bishop currently holds the position as the Haitian foreign diplomat, as vice consul of the Haitian government. He's also the founder and president of the Province International Mysteries, as well as founder of the Calvary Evangelist Bible College, the New Beginnings Restoration Center of Orlando, and the International Theological Training Center. He's a dean and professor at the Rima University and director of the Chaplains Association and a certified court interpreter and translator. And he's been married for 26 years and has 3 children. The pledge will be led by Commissioner Ings after the invocation. You may stand if you wish.
Can we say praise the Lord? Praise the Lord. This is a great country, Your Honor. This is a privilege for me to be before you today. We're going to call upon the name of the Lord. And the book of life, it says, if my people call upon me in the day of trouble, I will answer thee. I will deliver thee, and they will glorify me. And we're going to pray. Today we have to pray for our leaders here in that town. We have to pray for the citizens in our community, and also we have to pray for the protection of our law enforcement, police officers, those who are on dirty life every day, putting their life to help to save the community. Let us pray. Holy Father, thank you for the privilege you give us to be here as a community to present our needs and our concern before you. I'm asking you in the name of Jesus, our Redeemer, our Savior, to bless the great city of Orlando and also the Orange County. I'm praying for the law enforcement right now who are always there to help this community. I'm praying for the officers here this afternoon who bring us together to work in the unity. Your words say, call upon me in the day of trouble. Maybe we have some difficulties we don't know, but we are here just to address the community's business before you. I'm praying for the EMS workers also. I'm praying for the firefighters. I'm praying for those who don't know you right now as their personal Savior. I'm asking for your mercy upon each and every one of them. I pray for the Haitian government right now. I'm asking for your favor upon Haiti. Once again, I pray for the great country of America. Bring peace in this country, and the people of America will acknowledge that Jesus Christ is the King of Kings and the Lord of Lords. Hear our prayers in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Bishop. Okay, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, would you call the roll and make a determination of quorum, please?
Commissioner Gray?
Here.
Commissioner Ortiz?
Here.
Commissioner Stewart?
Here.
Commissioner Sheehan?
Here.
Commissioner Hill?
Here.
Commissioner Ings?
Here.
Mayor Dyer?
Here.
Mayor, you have a quorum with all members present.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. First order of business is the minutes of
So
the
moved.
workshop General Second City Council meetings of April 24th. Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, and so the motion carries. Okay, let's move into awards and presentations. And first up is our Historic Preservation Awards. Richard?
Good afternoon, Mayor Dyer and Commissioners. Today we acknowledge some of the top preservation projects from the last year. The annual Historic Preservation Awards program recognizes the places that matter within our city beautiful and the hard work that goes into rehabilitating and preserving these structures and places so they may be enjoyed today and for many generations to come. We present our annual awards during May, which is celebrated across our nation as National Preservation Month. Across the country, communities are celebrating the significant places that have contributed to our American experience. Orlando is very fortunate to have a great number of treasured historic resources that help tell the story of the history of our city and its people. Preservation Month continues to celebrate three words that say it all: this place matters. Everyone has places that are important to them, places they care about, places that matter. This Place Matters is a national campaign from the National Trust for Historic Preservation that encourages people to celebrate the places that are meaningful to them and their communities. Our first award this year is for Outstanding Residential Rehabilitation, and it goes to Keith Ory and his team from the TV show Zombie House Flipping. 125 East Copeland Avenue is located in the Lake Copeland Historic District, which was created in 1984. The house was built in 1925 for Harry J. Reid by contractor William Cole for $8,500. In 1930, Harry Reid died, and his widow Elizabeth is listed in the city directories as living here until 1945 with the Mrs. Helen and Irene Reid, likely her daughters. This house is a wonderful example of a local interpretation of the prairie style, with its overhanging pyramidal roof, wide eaves, hipped dormer, and craftsman-style windows. Though the house was an exceptional architectural gem within the historic district, it had fallen into disrepair as a foreclosed property. Vacant for several years, it was purchased in March of last year. Due to neglect, plaster was cracking. Throughout the house, vines were growing everywhere, and a small tree had taken root on the roof of the sunroom. The house had also gone through many years of interior updates and renovations, which were since very much outdated. Keith and his team began a full renovation of the interior, which included digging through 5 layers of flooring in the kitchen to reveal the original heart pine wood floors. Historic windows were restored by Austin Home Restorations, and even a couple of windows that had been covered by drywall on the inside were discovered and renovated. The brick walls of the garage, which had cracked and failed, were rebuilt using the original bricks. This shows the rear and that restored garage. One of the most important notes about this house was the eave. The eave was a beautiful, deep, overhanging eave, typical of this style, and it had been covered with aluminum soffitting, which was very inappropriate to the style. Beautiful view of the materials that were used to update the bathroom, and some views of the other rooms inside the house. With the addition of landscaping and a new coat of paint, 215 East Copeland Avenue is again a shining example of architectural excellence in the Lake Copeland Historic District. Thank you to Keith and his team for restoring this important historic structure. Our next award goes to 18 North Shine and the homeowners, the McClellans and Scott Seidler of Austin Home Restoration, for an exterior rehabilitation of the siding and windows. This Dutch colonial revival home was constructed in 1929 for Hugh Ferguson and his wife Lula. The house features a gambrel roof with a large shed dormer, wide eaves, and 6/1 double-hung windows. In 1939, Lula was listed in the city directories as a widow and living with her daughter, Eleanor McKean, and her children, Hugh, Keith, and Vance. You will recognize this name, Hugh McKean. He was a teacher at Rollins College and later president of the college, and he and his wife, Jeanette, started the Morse Gallery of Art, which has the largest collection of works by Louis Comfort Tiffany. The original wood siding and window and eave details had been covered up over the years with vinyl siding and aluminum soffits. This had altered the historic character of the house. Many of the original features had also been damaged by this additions of the siding, or they had gone missing. Austin Home Restoration took to the task of removing the vinyl siding and aluminum soffits to reveal the original cypress clapboard siding and open eaves. They repaired any damaged siding and replicated any missing pieces. They also replaced all missing details such as the beadboard soffits, bed moldings, head casings, and painted the house in a historic color. The original screens were also repaired and painted where needed. Thank you to the homeowners, the McClellans, and Scott Seidler of Austin Home Restoration for preserving this home's original historic features and character. This year we have Commercial Rehabilitation Award, and it goes to 123 West Church Street, which is the new home of the Lions Pride. The award goes to Michael Lingerfeld and business owner Gustavo Fonseca. Historically known as the Teal Building, it was built around 1920 as a one-story, two-unit commercial building. This spot was the location of the first railroad depot in Orlando in 1880, and that was run by Joseph Bumby. This stucco structure has a shaped parapet typical of the Mission Revival style, and this was considered a very important structure in the 1920s as it replaced the last of the wood structures on this part of West Church Street. The original east unit was used as a store while the west unit served as a restaurant for Sam Teal. The original storefronts were altered over time to suit the needs of the various tenants. In the 1970s, you might remember, Bob Snow converted the structure into a dance bar called Phineas Fogg's as part of the Church Street Station Entertainment Complex. At that time, the storefronts were replaced and the elaborate wrought iron was added. This picture is from the early 1980s, after Snow's renovation. The building sat empty for a few years and was in need of updates and bringing the structure to code. The design criteria for the project included goals to extract elements from the Orlando City Stadium to create a game day experience for local soccer fans. This was achieved with the prominent use of the colors and logos of the city soccer teams. Inside, the project made use of existing materials that are often discarded during a renovation. The old roof trusses were replaced to meet load requirements. However, they never left the site, and the beautiful old growth wood was repurposed and designed into beautiful walls and bars. Throughout the project, Michael Lingerfeld and his team faced many challenges, including underground utility issues, old electrical systems, foundation problems. There was significant termite wood rot and previous water damage that had weakened the structure. They persevered, poured a new foundation, updated the mechanical and safety systems, and rebuilt the custom brick plinth at the walls under the storefront windows. Thank you to Michael Lingerfeld, Gustavo Fonseca, and all those who worked on rehabilitating this building after many years of being vacant and providing our city with a new place to celebrate our Orlando City soccer clubs. This is a perfect example of sustainability. An old historic building and materials has now been completely rehabilitated and repurposed for an exciting new concept. We have a special award this year for Outstanding Community Organizational Achievement. The award is for the Lake Eola Heights Historic Neighborhood Association for their efforts in rehabilitating the exterior of the Handy Pantry, which is an iconic fixture in the historic district. Located at 522 East Amelia Street, this stucco commercial building was constructed in 1937 for owner A.A. Sanders at a cost of $3,500. Located at the prominent corner of Cathcart and Amelia, Sanders, who was a grocer, owned an earlier store at this same location. The building maintains much of the Mediterranean revival features in the 1930s character, including the metal tile roof canopy as well as the parapet with tile cap and Art Deco banding. For the past 17 years, the Handy Pantry has been run by Dev and Arati Rai. Business slowed and health issues forced them to cut back, and there was concern from the neighborhood that the business would fail. The Lake Eola Heights Historic Neighborhood Association banded together and held a fundraiser to help freshen up the building in order to improve business. The money raised helped with minor repairs to the building, cleaning the exterior, and new paint. The association approached the Historic Preservation Office to help choose the color, which was chosen to enhance the Mediterranean features, including the terracotta shade for the roof, which had been painted the same blue as the building and rather blended in, a mahogany color for the wood brackets, and a greenish-gray hue for the metal features. The 1920s or 30s Art Deco banding at the top of the parapet was painted to highlight this feature. We would like to thank the Lake Eola Heights Historic Neighborhood Association for their collaboration with the business owners and the city to ensure that this local neighborhood grocery continues to thrive and serve the local residents of this historic district as it has for 80 years. Our next award is for our Centennial Award. This award is given to the owner of a structure that has passed the 100-year mark and has been well-maintained or appropriately rehabilitated. This year, our Centennial Award plaque is presented to 907 East Washington Street. Built in 1915, this frame vernacular structure almost didn't make it to its 100-year mark. In the summer of 2014, at 99 years of age, the house was damaged by 2 separate arson attacks. The fire and water damage was extensive, and others had contemplated complete demolition. Fortunately, new owner Paul Richards with contractor David Beeler decided to restore the heavily damaged house, which was one of the oldest houses in the Lake Lawsona Historic District. And you'll remember during that same arson period, we did lose one of the old houses in Lake Lawsona on Hill. The front porch was returned to the open configuration, which was shown on the Sanborn maps. Additions were made to the rear, and a new garage apartment was constructed in the rear yard. Historic windows were either rebuilt or custom made to match the historic windows of the house. With added landscape and a more appropriate color palette, this house has been brought back from near destruction and contributes beautifully to the Lake Lawsona Historic District. Thank you to homeowner Paul Richards and contractor David Beeler for your hard work and dedication to restoring this 102-year-old gym. And I might have to point out, thank you for the beautiful and historically appropriate front doors that are now in place. All right, but just quickly before I hand out the awards, it's time to announce the Historic Preservation Board's theme for the 2018 annual calendar competition. I know it's hard to believe that it's already here, but it is. So, this year we will focus on structures from our more recent past representing mid-century modern architecture. Many structures built during the mid-20th century are well over 50 years of age and worth studying, celebrating, and preserving because of the groundbreaking design and ingenuity of the style. And this year we are expanding our competition boundaries to include all of the city limits instead of just the historic districts. So we hope to get a great variety of photos of our city's mid-century treasures. All right, so now back to the awards. I'd like to this time to ask the Mayor and Commissioner Sheehan and Commissioner Hill to come down and help congratulate our award winners. And would all the award winners please come down for our photo opportunity. Oh, good, good. Excellent.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, y'all want to stand behind me? Hey, commissioners, y'all want to stand behind me? Let's do it.
They're down there, because they're just, let's stand back here. Come on, boys. I'm in the middle.
Again, congratulations. Hey, send that to Alejandro.
Okay, now I'd like to call on Lisa Early, our Director of Family Parks and Recreation, to introduce the Gino Nicholas Memorial Scholarship Award. Lisa.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer and Commissioners. Dating back to 1921, the Kiwanis Club of Orlando has a rich history as one of the oldest Kiwanis clubs in the state and the nation. The Kiwanis Club of Orlando Foundation holds and manages the club's investments, making grants annually to not-for-profit organizations that serve children and youth in Orlando, Orange County, and in the surrounding communities. So I'm going to ask Mr. Tom Porter, a longstanding 11-year member of the Kiwanis Club of Orlando, past president of the club, and the current president of the Kiwanis Club of Orlando Foundation, to join me at the podium to present the award. And I'd like to also recognize Gino Nicholas' family, who's here, including his mother, who's sitting with me, Ms. Edith Saint-Fleur. And after the award is made, we're going to ask Commissioner Hill and the mayor and Gino's family to come to the front for photographs. Mr. Porter.
Thank you, Lisa. Mayor Dyer, commissioners, good afternoon. As Lisa said, my name's Tom Porter, and as president of the Kiwanis, I'm proud to represent the Kiwanis Club of Orlando Foundation. Steve Roush, president of our club currently and a director of our foundation, is also here today, and I'd like to recognize Steve. Following the tragic events that took Gino Nicholas's life just over 1 year ago, our board wanted to honor the memory of this man who grew up in Paramore, left to get his degree, and returned to make positive changes in the community. We also wanted to provide hope for youth from Paramore who aspire to follow Gino's example in continuing their education after high school. The Kiwanis Club of Orlando Foundation established the Gino Nicholas Memorial Fund with an initial contribution of $100,000. Today, we are announcing the first two $2,000 scholarships from this fund. The winners you will meet today were selected by a committee composed of representatives from Paramore, including Commissioner Hill, Police Chief John Mina, Lisa Early, and Calvin Ivory of My Brother's Keeper. We're grateful for your work on this committee. The first scholarship winner is Whitney Simon. Mr. Simon will be a junior this fall at Southern Illinois University, where he is majoring in broadcast communications. He has been a part of the Paramore Kid Zone since 2010 and is still active. He credits the PKZ with inspiring and motivating him to achieve his goals in life. I am delighted to introduce Mr. Whitney Simon. The next scholarship winner is Nadej Renee, a student at Valencia College. A volunteer with her church, the Salvation Army, and the Paramore Kid Zone, Ms. Renee says serving others gives her pure joy. Ms. Renee indicated that PKC helped her keep alive her dream of becoming an accountant. Join me in congratulating Ms. Nadej Renee. Congratulations to our first Gino Nicholas Memorial Scholarship winners who are helping to keep his positive legacy alive.
Let me acknowledge before I go to the next one that Commissioner Victoria Siplin is here with us today. I know she's here for the Haitian American Heritage Month that'll be coming up in just a minute. And then school board member Nancy Robinson is here too. Okay, I'm going to call now on Deputy Chief Anzueto to tell us about National Missing Children's Day. Chief.
Thank you, Mayor. Commissioners, thank you for allowing us to bring awareness to the National Missing Children's Day. The children in our community deserve every advantage that we can give them. Growing up is a tough business, and is just made harder when they are victims of abuse, which leads to many children running away. According to the FBI, in 2016, there were over 465,000 entries for missing children. In 2015, there was 460,000 missing children reports. Instead of decreasing every year, which we'd like to see, it's actually increasing. Our officers and detectives work all the reported cases in Orlando and know there are many more cases that are not reported. In 2016, 360 missing children cases were reported and assigned to Detective Kim Brewster of our Special Victims Unit. In addition, there were 151 cases where the Orlando Police Department recovered missing children who were reported from another jurisdiction, and those cases required her review and investigative follow-up. Anyone familiar with the term Amber Alert understands that these cases have the potential to require tremendous resources and efforts to resolve. In 2016, we had one Amber Alert case that required assistance from federal and several state law enforcement agencies, but ultimately located the endangered child thanks to the hard work of many. We know we can't do it alone and depend on our partners to help bring youth to safety. Several of them have joined us today, including the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, SAC Danny Banks is here, and the Department of Children and Families. Mayor Dyer, would you read the proclamation, please?
Whereas children are our greatest assets and more than 40,000 children are reported missing each year in the state of Florida. And whereas according to the National Center for Missing and Endangered Children, 1 in 6 endangered runaways reported to them in 2016 were likely sex trafficking victims. And whereas intervening early with services that support and empower vulnerable youth provides a pathway to recovery from crime and abuse. And whereas the Orlando Police Department receives hundreds of reports per year of missing juveniles, and they depend on a network of partners to locate these young people and bring them out of danger, including the Florida Department of Law Enforcement, the Missing Endangered Persons Information Clearinghouse, the National Center for Missing and Endangered Children, the Florida Department of Children and Families, and DEVRO. Now, therefore, I, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, hereby do proclaim Thursday, May 25th, 2017, as National Missing Children's Day in the City of Orlando, and reaffirm the city's commitment to creating a victim service and criminal justice response that assists all missing and endangered youth. Okay, I let into it a little bit. May is Haitian American Heritage Month, and I mentioned that Commissioner Siplin is here, and as far as I know, she is the first and only Central Floridian elected official who is a Haitian American, so thank you for being here with us. I'm going to call on Commissioner Ings to do the intros.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer. This is a opportunity for us to support the Haitian Haitian American Heritage Month, and we're going to call on Commissioner Siplin to come and say a few words, and then I'll introduce Consul General Pierre Max Charles. Commissioner Siplin.
No. Good afternoon, everyone. Mayor, it is always a pleasure and an honor. My commissioners like myself, it's always a pleasure to be here before you. And also, Commissioner Ings, thank you again for the invitation and for being a champion in the Haitian community alongside Commissioner Regina Hill. I thank you guys for all your work. Thank you. And I will be brief. I will be brief because I come to you this afternoon with a heavy heart. The Haitian community is very concerned. We have approximately 50,000 Haitians who are under what they call a temporary protective status. And that right now under the new administration is a big question mark. And what is going to happen to those 50,000 Haitian Americans who are hardworking taxpayers here in Orange County and in the city of Orlando. With that being said, it is always an honor to see a city such as the city of Orlando pay homage and give respect and inclusion to the Haitian population amongst other cultures that come before you and that you celebrate. I know as public servants, there are times where our jobs are easy, and one of them is presenting proclamations saying how great we're doing and the wonderful things that are happening in our city, in our county. And there are times, and I feel today is one of them, where you have to make tough decisions, where you're hearing both sides of the issue, but you must remember to always go with your heart. And you always want to do what Orlando has continued to do, and that is to be a city that unites. And whatever it is that we can do to unite our city, to unite our citizens, I always encourage you to do that, even though, like I said, I know it's difficult. I would not want to be in your shoe today, but with that being said, again, Mayor, Commissioners, we appreciate the recognition. We appreciate the inclusion. We appreciate the inclusiveness and the unity that you guys push for, and thank you again for recognizing Haitian American Heritage Month. And I would like to also recognize the Nicholas family, Gino's family. They were part of my billboard campaign, See Something, Say Something, because progress requires collective commitment. And if we want to see progress, we want to see change in our communities, we must stand up, all of us together. It's not just government, it's not just our law enforcement, it's not just our residents, but it's all of us working together that's going to bring about that change and that progress that we so seek and desire. So thank you, and again, I appreciate everything that each and every one of you do on a daily basis. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, Mayor Dyer, I would like to introduce Pierre Max Charles, who's a minister, counselor of the Council of the Republic of Haiti in Orlando. Mr. Charles is a diplomat of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Haiti for almost 25 years. He worked for the Department of Protocol, the Department of Economic Affairs and International Cooperation, Political Department, and recently Special Advisor to the Director General and Director of the Department of Council Affairs. So at this time, Mayor, I present to you Council General Pierre Max Charles. After he speaks, if you would, Mayor, please read the proclamation. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Honorable Mayor G. Dyer, Honorable Commissioners Samuel B. Ings, Honorable Commissioners, members of the board, I share with the entire Haitian community the honor of this acknowledgement of the Haitian people's contribution to the American history and culture. Moments and facts of our history merged since century 18, since we are two countries created after heroic wars against powerful armies of past colonial era. In behalf of the Consulate of Haiti, I am very grateful for your solidarity with Haiti and the collaboration you offer in order to ease our work beside the community here. There is an important item of the roadmap of the consulate, Haitian consulate, join Orlando, the full counties of its metropolitan area as sister cities, with some Haitian towns and collectivities. So we will share good experiences in fields such as tourism, green energy, public security, education, disaster response, policy, to promote investment and increase employment, where Orlando is awarded with a great advance as well goals of the new Haitian government. Soon we'll reach too many efforts of the authorities of this community and the consulate, connect the greater Orlando and our capital, Port-au-Prince, by non-stop flight. We look forward to ease the path of our communities in their way to explore business opportunities in Haiti and experience our rich and amazing culture. Orlando, as many other cities of this proud county, offered hospitality to thousands of Haitians after the 2010 earthquake, avoiding them to give up on their dream or accomplishment. We acknowledge the glamour and benefit of this action. This movement calls me as Consul of Haiti to ask you, Honorable Mayor, Commissioners, and members of the board to help in personal and official ways the Haitian community to reach the renewal of the temporary protect status, TPS, as we expect to be pronounced by the U.S. administration late this month. That will be a contribution this community will never forget. May 18, we celebrate the Haitian Flag Day. 214 years of history. The Haitian American Heritage Month will be a moment to learn about historical moments of solidarity of the Haitian nation with the people of America and the world, and may be a mirror of the contribution of Haitian literacy to the positive anthropology as an advocacy to equality and cultural diversity. Let us experience the richness of Haitian culture. Thank you.
Whereas Haitian Heritage Month is an important time of year for members of the Haitian community, and whereas Haitian Heritage Month is an expansion of Haitian Flag Day, a major patriotic celebration in Haiti, and whereas Haitian Heritage Month was first celebrated in Boston, and Haitian American leaders in Florida are attempting to make it a national celebration, just like other heritage celebrations in the U.S., and whereas the city of Orlando takes great pride in the diversity of people, cultures, and traditions represented by its residents, and whereas Orlando is enriched by the significant and lasting contributions of its residents of Haitian heritage, and whereas the residents of City of Orlando join Minister Councilor Pierre Max Charles, the new General Consulate of the Republic of Haiti in Orlando, and the Haitian community in celebrating the rich history and culture of the Republic of Haiti. Now, therefore, we, Buddy Dyer, Mayor of the City of Orlando, and Samuel B. Ings, District 6 City Commissioner, hereby do proclaim May 2017 as Haitian Heritage Cultural Month in the City of Orlando.
Commissioner.
Okay, we're going to move on into the mayor's update. Commissioners, last week, Commissioner Ng's aunt, Mrs. Leona Ings, passed away, and I want to take this time during today's meeting and honor and remember her with a moment of silence, please. Thank you, and Commissioner Ings, you and your family are in our thoughts and prayers.
Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioners, today I would like to take a moment to recognize the National Police Week, and especially today, May 15th, as Peace Officers Memorial Day. Today, Chief Mina and FOP Lodge President Sean Dunlap joined 40,000 other law enforcement officers from across the country and around the world in D.C. to honor those law enforcement officers who have paid the ultimate price. I'm especially proud that we made a donation of an Orlando United art exhibit created by our communications department and OPD that was donated to the LGBTQ Law Enforcement Association to auction to raise funds towards the construction of a permanent memorial in DC. And Chief Renzueto told me that it raised the most funds of any of the silent auction items that were there that day. Unfortunately, our community was affected this year with 2 law enforcement officers killed in the line of duty, and we will always remember me. So please join me in another moment of silence for all of the fallen officers. Thank you again. Chief Renzueto, while I'm thinking about it, you want to come up and demonstrate your new device?
This is our
So we've
new-
been working on body cameras
I know,
for a
we've been-
long time.
I've been talking about body cameras for a long time, and this is our new Motorola camera. There's 50, the first batch is 50. We're going to be training our officers starting on June 5th, so we should have the first batch of 50 out. You can put it on different areas on your uniform. The one right here is just, you can spin it around here, and I can record you right now by just hitting a button. And you're not able to delete anything, it'll upload into our main server. This is also going to be part of a microphone where it'll attach to this applet right here, and it'll attach to your radio. I don't have my radio with me because it's kind of hard to sit in these seats with the full belt gear, but we're going to outfit all of our first responders, and we'll do it in different batches, but hopefully eventually everybody will have a body-worn camera to capture all police activity moving forward.
Thank you, Chief, and I think that's really the state of the art in terms of body cameras, the ones that we were able to procure, and it's taken a little bit longer than we would have liked to, but we also want to deploy them in a manner that the officers know exactly how to use them, and they're going to be protection for both the officers and the public.
Yes, absolutely. And you can actually take it off of the housing here and use it as a camera, high-def camera, and a full recording device for audio interviews with victims and criminals alike. So, thank you.
Thank you, Chief. So today, I also want to recognize that City Commissioner Patty Sheehan was just recognized. The Seminole State Colleges Alumni Association are recognized by them as their 2017 Distinguished Alumni Award winner. She was recognized for her achievements in our community as well as her support of Seminole State College. So join me in congratulating Commissioner Sheehan. Orlando United Day and Acts of Love and Kindness. As we approach June the 12th, I want to provide a brief update to the community. The City of Orlando and Orange County, Commissioner Sheehan has been integral in helping us develop this, have designated June the 12th as Orlando United Day, a day of love and kindness to honor the 49 innocent Pulse victims and support survivors, as well as recognize the compassion and love that was displayed by our entire Central Florida community following the tragedy. So on this day, a number of community events and activities will take place, including a homegrown movement led by the One Orlando Alliance and influenced by the victims' families to engage in acts of love and kindness. And engaging in those activities is a respectful and loving way to remember and honor the lives of those taken and to show compassion for those who need support. The actual family members have developed 49 specific acts that you might want to consider as you're thinking about what you will do on that day. And following the tragedy, we showed the world that Orlando would not be defined by hate, but instead defined by a response, which was love, compassion, and unity. And we encourage everyone worldwide to join us in acting with love and kindness to honor those affected by the tragedy. For more info, you can go to orlandounitedday.com. Or our website. Flag competition. I get a lot of questions about that. So our city flag competition is in for another round of public input. I encourage our residents to visit our website until May the 22nd to give us your opinion on the new modified designs. We culled it down from a lot of designs to 10 and then eventually to 4. They've been reworked just a little bit, and we want everybody's input on them. Flag World actually went ahead and created and displayed prototypes of the 4 options that we have. One item of note, last Thursday, we broke ground on the new downtown campus to be shared by UCF and Valencia, and we are seeing a lot of activity and interest in Creative Village as we begin what has been a decades-long planning process. The jobs and the economic impact and the new education opportunities get closer every day. And on today's agendas, there are a couple items related to that, an amendment to the purchase option agreement that will establish a pricing option to build a student housing at Creative Village. And we will probably have a second groundbreaking related to that into Valencia. So I have, before we move on to commissioner comments, I do have one other item that I would like to discuss, and there are a lot of people here that aren't on items of the agenda but have come to speak on a particular item. And as you know, there's been a national debate going on regarding monuments and memorials dedicated to Civil War, the Civil War, and to officers and others that served during the Civil War. They were installed in the late 1800s and some in the early 1900s. Here in Orlando, we do have one such monument, and it's a Confederate soldier statue at Lake Eola Park on the east side. And these statues have been put up for different purposes in different cities around America. And these statues are also subject to various different interpretations. In the case of our statue, some people, like myself, see them as historical markers that are dedicated to the fallen dead. while others perceive them as a symbol of white supremacy and a vestige of slavery, and some Confederate symbols have been adopted by hate groups. With this understanding and our city's commitment to inclusiveness, I'm proposing that we move the statue to a more appropriate location, which is Greenwood Cemetery. There is a Confederate veterans section of the cemetery, and it is totally appropriate to have a memorial to the fallen Confederate veterans in that section of the cemetery. I want everybody out here to understand I'm not suggesting that the statue be taken down and put in storage. My plan has a couple of aspects to it. One is to engage historians to develop and install an appropriate education interpretive panel near the monument that would put the monument in proper historical context and serve as an education tool for our community and future generations to learn about this period in our history. Number two is to preserve this historic artifact of our past by utilizing a professional team to thoroughly inspect and carefully dismantle, move, reassemble, and re-erect the statue at Greenwood Cemetery in the Civil War Confederate section. The statue is aging. We've had some difficulties. The rifle that the soldier's carrying actually broke off, and we know that the statue is in need of repair. This would not be the first time the statue has been moved. It was originally located on Magnolia Avenue before it was moved to Lake Eola Park in 1917. I've reviewed our policies. Kyle has reviewed our policies. And because the monument was installed in Lake Eola Park before the current Memorials and Monuments policy, I believe it's within my authority, the mayor's authority, to relocate the monument. But city commissioners, I wanted to consult you first to see if you have any thoughts. I believe this proposal balances the inclusive morals of our community today while carefully preserving the historic artifacts from our past that can be used to further educate and serve as important lessons in today's society. I know a lot of you have come to speak about the Confederate Soldier Memorial today, so I wanted to lay out my position before you had the opportunity, or why you had the opportunity, so you could comment on that as you come to the podium, and that will be during the general appearance part of this. We're still going to deal with the consent agenda, and I think we have about 6 or 7 other ordinances that are on either first or second read. With that, we will move on to the consent agenda, and as we take up the consent agenda, we give each of our commissioners an opportunity to comment on items of interest from their district and or items on the consent agenda. We rotate the order that we do that. Today we're starting with Commissioner Ames.
Thank you, Mayor. And Mayor, I'd also like to express our condolences to Deputy Chief Bobby Anzueto on the loss of his father. He lost his father two weeks ago, and so our prayers are with him. And I don't know if you want to do a silent.
Sure.
Okay.
Why don't we have a moment of silence for Chief Anzueto's father as well. Thank you, and Chief, our thoughts and prayers are with your family as well.
Thank you, Mayor, so very much. I also want to thank you and the council, the commissioners, for proclaiming May 2017 as Haitian American Heritage Month. And on today's agenda, there's an item on H1 that we're approving a permit for the Taste of Haiti Orlando event that will be held at the Gaston Edwards Park here in the city of Orlando on June the 3rd. So I want to again thank you so much for your support of that, and also thank you for the support of the Haitian flag that's prominently being displayed just outside of the city chambers today in recognition of the Haitian American Heritage Month. Also, this past May 11th, former Orlando City Commissioner and County Commissioner Mabel Butler celebrated her 90th birthday celebration at the Rosen Center Hotel. It was the day that we had our Mother's Day luncheon for all of our mothers, And our oldest mother there was 94 years old, and she received a bouquet of roses. And also Harris Rosen, who is the owner of the Rosen Center Hotel, did stop by and take pictures and greet all of our mothers. We had over 100 mothers that were there. And Commissioner Butler really celebrated in great style her 90th birthday. And we also want to say Happy Mother's Day for all of our mothers throughout the city of Orlando. And also on May 11th, the evening, I went to Eccleston Elementary School and celebrated with the principal, Dr. Julie Helton, and Betty Chandler, who was the coordinator of the Parent Honor Society induction ceremony. And this was held at the Rufus C. Brooks Cafeteria. This is their 6th annual. And what they do is they honor all of the parents that really assist their kids throughout the year at the school in volunteer programs and helping with many cases of discipline and just keeping kids encouraged. So for the Parent Challenge, the guest speaker was Dr. Clara Walters, who's the former principal of Carver Junior High School at that time and Jones High School. So again, this was a great event there at Eccleston Elementary. The last thing I want to say is that we've been doing some great things here in the city, and we just have to continue our momentum. We speak of unity, and so all of our communities need to reflect the type of energy that we put in protecting our citizens and improving our neighborhoods. So this is an opportunity for us to just continue this great momentum to do greater things for the city of Orlando. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Gray.
Thank you, Mayor. It's great to see this many people here. Thank you all for taking the time to come out and express your thoughts on whatever issue you're here for. Thank you for being here. It's good to see this many folks. And because we have a big crowd with a lot of people that want to talk, I'm going to suspend my comments today. Surprise. Things going on in the southeast part of the city are on our website, both past and future. And so welcome. We're glad you're here. With that, Mayor, I'll...
Thank you, Commissioner Gray. Commissioner Ortiz.
You always put me in the spot. Well, let me start with a happy belated Mother's Day to all mothers in our city. Last Friday, we had the pleasure to spend our day with the mothers at Johnson Manor Seniors Apartment. It's a tradition we have continued over the years, and we wish to continue for years to come. Saturday, May 6th, Orlando City inaugurated their new soccer pitch at Englewood Neighborhood Center. New pitch would add to our initiative of keeping our youth active and evolving our community. Special thanks to my social media and marketing director, Mr. Felipe Gutierrez, for representing me at the event. Today marks the beginning of Senior Corps Week 2017. From May 15th to May 19th, it's important we keep in mind the extraordinary impact that senior citizens make in our communities through organizations like Senior Corps and Senior versus Crime. There's a little quote here I want to read. It says, whether it's a foster grandparent tutoring or mentoring students, a senior companion helping a fellow senior live independently, or RSVP volunteer providing free income tax assistance, Seniors Corps volunteers are strengthening our nation and helping those in need. That was said by Corporation for National and Community Service. I consider that a public service announcement. A reminder to my constituents is Thursday is our District 2 Neighborhood Leaders Council. The meeting will begin at 6:30 at the Dover Shores Community Center. And with respect to the last subject we're talking about, I have a policy, and this is a very, my very own philosophy. We have soldiers that have served in all kinds of wars and conflicts, and we have to respect that, regardless. We have a tradition, and we have cultures, and no culture can survive on its own in America. We all need each other. Some things have gone well, some things have gone bad, but at the end of the day, we are all Americans. We should keep respecting that let's keep the things that separate us aside, and let's work on the things that unite us. Let's respect each other, and let's respect our history. With that, Mayor, leave it at that. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Sheehan. Commissioner Stewart?
Thank you, Mayor. And let me conclude, start with your conclusion, and that is, if you'll do me a favor, if you'll take your phone out, and if you'll mark 3 o'clock on Monday, May 29th, and put an alarm in there to remember that that's Memorial Day. We're not having a chance to meet between now and then to get a chance to celebrate that, or commemorate that. So take your phones out now. You can do that. The mayor will let you do that as long as you silence your phone. And mark 3 o'clock on Monday, May 29th. And when that happens, take a moment, remember those who have actually sacrificed for our country. A couple of quick announcements. Thank you. I hope that was for those who fought and died for our country and not for me. A couple of quick announcements, and I'll just go over them real quickly and then move on. May 17th, Ivanhoe Village has the Wanderlust Wednesday. Please come down and support our main streets. It's important for that. On Wednesday, Mayor Dyer and Commissioner Sheehan and I will be at the Orlando Fringe Festival. It's a great way to bring our community together. Excited about kicking that off, and you get a chance, go to orlandofringe.com. Commissioner Sheehan and I will be serving at the Celebrity Breakfast for dinner for our Main Street for Mills 50 on Thursday evening. And then Friday evening is College Park Family Fun Flicks. So there's plenty of stuff going on which brings our community together. And I'm honored to be part of that. If you'd like to know more information about those, you can go to my website. If you'd like to need more, call my office or check the city's website. And Mayor, in respect to the group we have here, I'm going to go ahead and conclude that as my comments.
Thank you, Commissioner. Move to Commissioner Sheehan.
Thank you, Mayor, and I want to thank Commissioner Stewart for letting everybody know my calendar, in our calendar. So thank you.
I did it quickly.
You did, and I just have one item in the interest of time today, item C21, which is Hillcrest Elementary. I'd like to read the following into the record. On May 10th, Orange County Public Schools provided updated landscaping plans and parking garage elevations to the city. These are provided as an additional attachment. The parking garage must be substantially similar to one of the two options provided. The final design of the south and west parking garage elevations is subject to approval by the planning official in order to ensure adequate screening and quality design. I want to thank Board Member Nancy Robinson for being here today. And that's actually the nuts and bolts of what we do here at City Council, is actually stuff like this, in addition to controversial items. But that's what I need to read in the record today, and I look forward to working with Member Robinson to make sure that we have a proper screening for the neighborhood as we move forward with the new construction for Hillcrest Elementary School. And I will hold my my comments on the statute until we've had public comment. Thank you, Mayor.
Commissioner Hill?
Thank you, sir. Also, in the interest of time, because I know there's quite a few people that came today to let their voices be heard, and I'm going to make sure I update my website, and I'll talk about the great things going on in District 5 next council.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Nancy, would you like to speak on the Hillcrest Elementary issue?
All right.
Okay. Commissioner Hill, you have a motion on the consent agenda?
I motion to move.
I'll second that.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right. Okay, let's see. That brings us to the CRA. So without objection, I will recess the City Council meeting, call the CRA Board meeting to order. First item of business is Advisory Board meeting minutes from the 22nd of February. Is there a motion to accept those?
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, the motion carries. CRA meeting minutes from April the 10th for approval.
So move.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. CRA meeting minutes from April 24th.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. All in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. And then number 4 is a facade and building stabilization program funding agreement. Thomas?
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, Mayor and Commissioners. As the Mayor said, item number 4 is approving a downtown facade and building stabilization program funding agreement between the CRA and Pittman Industrial LLC for 400 Pittman Street. I remind you that the facade and building stabilization program encourages the reuse and increased use of underutilized or vacant properties. And the applicant for today is a commercial property located in the Paramore Heritage area, which means that it qualifies for up to $40,000 on a matching grant basis. This property located at 400 Pittman was previously awarded a facade and building stabilization grant in February of 2014 for the $40,000. The applicant at that time was Real Thread Incorporated, and they used the grant funds, as you can see, for a litany of aesthetic items as well as HVAC and electrical upgrades. And again, that was in February of 2014. The program allows for new grants for the facility to be granted again within 3 years of the original grant time, so they meet that threshold at this point. Again, the applicant is Pittman Industrial LLC. It's a new property owner at 400 Pittman. Real Thread is still a current tenant there. You may know the building also having had other tenants, including Clean the World. The proposed improvement before you today is roofing work in the amount of $120,000 in stabilization funding for that roof replacement. And the Facade Review Committee has convened and recommends approval. And if there are no questions, Mayor and staff is requesting approval of the Downtown Facade and Building Stabilization Program funding agreement between the CRA and Pittman Industrial LLC at 400 Pittman Street, subject to review and approval of the City Attorney's Office, and authorizing the Chair of the CRA and Executive Director to execute such agreement.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Further business to come before the board, Thomas?
There's none, Mayor. Thank you all.
Then we will stand adjourned. We will now convene the Neighborhood Improvement District meeting. And we are simply, we're approving the meeting minutes and actions of the April 12th Advisory Council meeting.
So moved.
Motion by
Second.
Commissioner Sheehan, second by Commissioner Hill. Discussion, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. So we will adjourn the Neighborhood Improvement District meeting, and we will now convene the OPEB Board of Trustees. And we do have one item today before the Board of Trustees as of the OPEB Trust Fund. The city's investment consultant has recommended the selection of 2 new investment managers for the OPEB Fund, HarborVest Partners and Comvest Capital. This recommendation has been reviewed and approved by the Investment Committee and the Finance Committee, and now is before us for final approval. Is there a motion to approve this
So
selection?
move to approve.
Motion by Commissioner Ings, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Discussion, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so the motion carries. All right, we are on hearings number 1, which is approving the purchase agreement between the city and the Creative Village Development LLC for the sale of Creative Village Lot J. This is a public hearing for the disposition and sale of certain city property valued in excess of $500,000 as required by Chapter 13, Section 7 of the City Charter. Notice of the hearing appeared in the Orlando Sentinel on May the 10th, 2017, and approval of this transaction will require a majority of all members of the City Council. Pursuant to a competitive selection process, Creative Village Development LLC was selected to be the master developer of the former Amway Arena site, now known as Creative Village. As master developer, Creative Village Development LLC has an option to purchase development parcels within the Creative Village site. It has exercised its option to purchase parcel J of Lot 4 of the Creative Village Phase 1 plat to construct student housing for the downtown campus of the University of Central Florida and Valencia Community College. This parcel consists of 1.41 acres and is generally located on the northwest corner of West Livingston Street and North Terry Avenue. Pursuant to the terms of the Master Development Agreement and the Purchase Option Agreement as amended, the proposed sale price is $3,552,000 $135, calculated as $6,500 per unit for 453 bedrooms, $31 per square foot for 10,000 square feet of ground floor commercial, plus the escalator set forth in the agreements. At this time, I would ask if there's anyone from the public that would like to speak. We do have one card. Luana Gelser.
Alana Gelser, 7674 St. Stephen's Court, Orlando, zip 32835. Mayor Dyer, I'm not opposed to this, but I really just want to go on record and say that you're taking a vote of any property that you sell for over $500,000. Major concern when I've been doing some research and I've seen property sold to individuals and there was no vote. But for those who might not remember, Creative Village is the old site of the first arena. And when it was paid for, it was valued at $100 million. And after it was blown up, and the cleanup, it was $93 million. Took $7 million to clean up that the first arena. My concern is the citizens are $93 million in the hole right now. So we are watching to see if we collect what we lost with the first arena. Because some people might forget, but me being a numbers person, I follow the dollar. So I'm not opposed to it. I wanted to go on record and hear you say that you must take a vote if you're going to sell any city property to any vendor for any reason that's overvalued at $500,000, there needs to be a vote. I will be back because, like I said, I have proof that has not taken place on an occasion that is very dear to my heart. So I'm just going on record and saying we're watching, we're adding up the dollars, and hopefully the citizens will reap the cost that we lost when we blew up the first arena of $93 million. Have a wonderful day.
Madam Clerk, do we have any further cards for testimony? No. Okay, is there a motion?
So move to approve.
Second.
Motion is second. Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Madam Clerk, your turn. Let's go to hearings, ordinances, second reading, number 1.
Ordinance 2017-6, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to historic preservation, designating certain real property generally located north of West Livingston Street, east of North Terry Avenue, south of Alexander Place, and west of North Huey Avenue, addressed as 401 West Livingston Street, and comprising the Mayor Bob Carr Performing Arts Center Terrace as an Orlando historic landmark, providing findings, permit disclaimer for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Move to adopt.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to testify on this ordinance? Discussion among commissioners?
Mayor,
We do.
Ms. Gelser, she wants to speak on that one too as well.
She's all on the same form there.
Oh, I see. Second read, 1 and 2. Okay, Luana Gelser.
Before I get started, Mayor Dyer, I didn't want to come back up for the other one. Can we lump the time together and I just speak once, or you want me to
Sure,
speak individually?
there are 2 ordinances, first and second on second reading, that relate to designation of historic landmark status. So you can go ahead and speak on both if you would like.
Okay, thank you, Mayor Dyer. Luana Gelser, 7674 St. Stephenson Court, Orlando, Florida. I'm not against, once again, against Orlando Historical Landmark for what we consider the Bob Carr Auditorium and some of us who played basketball, the Davis Armory. My concern is why we did not observe Tinker Field that was on the National Historic Register. And it was only $10 million to rehab that facility. Is we preserving this because I feel like the cost to do the remediation under the ground from the contamination, and this is the best thing to do, leave it alone so we don't have to spend more money cleaning up like we did for Fire Station number 2 on Robinson Street? Or is this just your kind looking out for the citizens on the west side of town and making sure that this is something that we can have? Your past history has indicated to me, I'm gonna be cautioned. Because if this is the case, can you change the ordinance? Can you do something later on? And the next thing you know, because Creative Village, the UCF, the Valencia campus is now needing that space, and we can do exactly what we did to Tinker Field, demolish it for a parking lot? I hope not. But what we have to understand is what I've noticed over the years under your administration is that when there's a need to change an ordinance, a policy, or just do what you need to do in an urban community, especially on the west side of Orlando, we fall to corporate welfare. The community is left wondering why we're not protected and wondering why this continues to happen to us. So once again, I say I'm not opposed to this. I'm concerned that we've had ordinance in place to protect the Paramore community from the Orlando Rescue Mission, just to name one. You couldn't expand, move it, or do whatever. We had to do a quasi-hearing. But the next thing I knew, Mayor Dyer, because you couldn't build it in Paramore, you moved it on Colonial, but you changed the name so nobody could follow what you was doing. So I guess what I'm questioning, Mayor Dyer, is your tactics when it comes to the citizens and making sure we're informed. And if you're here to be a public servant, remember, this is not a dictatorship. And you being an attorney, I think you understand that. My concern is, once again, we're doing something, but every time when you need to do rehab or redevelopment or expand for something, especially in the urban community, those ordinance, those policies, everything can change to benefit the very, very few, what I consider the 1%. That's corporate welfare. It's wrong. If you could save a dog park, trees on the east side for $6 million, you could have did something for Tinker Field. And I'm just concerned that you will do this right now, and hopefully no one in the room will remember. But if the Lord blesses me, when it changes, I'll be back to say, on this day, I said, you will change it. Your tactics is what I'm questioning. So, Mayor Dyer, I say, kudos for right now, but we're watching you. Thank you.
Okay, any other cards for testimony?
None.
Let's see, do we have a motion?
Yes,
We got a motion, right. Okay, discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 2, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-7, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to historic preservation, designating certain real property generally located north of West Bentley Street, east of North Paramore Avenue, south of Amelia Street, and west of North Terry Avenue, addressed as 649 West Bentley Street, and comprising the Davis Armory as an Orlando historic landmark, providing findings, permit disclaimer for severability, correction of scrivener's error, and effective date.
Moved it out.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Sheehan. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this ordinance? Seeing none, Commissioners' discussion. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. Number 3, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-14, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, annexing to the corporate limits of the city certain land generally located south of Oglesby Avenue, west of Clay Street, east of Formosa Avenue, and north of Crandon Avenue, and comprised of 0.242 acres of land, more or less, providing findings, amendment of the city's boundary description, and for amendment of the city's official maps providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public that would like to speak on this matter? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. Number 4, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-15, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, amending the city's adopted growth management plan to change the future land use map designation for certain land generally located south of Oglesby Avenue, west of Clay Street, east of Interstate 4, and north of Dartmouth Avenue, and comprised of 39 acres of land, more or less, from public recreational and institutional to neighborhood activity center on the city's official land use maps, further amending the city's adopted growth management plan to create Sub-area policy S.2.5, establishing the maximum development program, providing for amendment of the city's official land use maps, providing for severability, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Ortiz. Is there anyone from the public who'd like to speak? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, so the motion carries. Number 5, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-23, an ordinance of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to fire prevention and amending Chapter 24 Fire Prevention Code of the Code of the City of Orlando, Florida, adopting new Chapter 24 Fire Prevention Code, the Code of the City of Orlando, Florida, implementing the Florida Fire Prevention Code, adopting the Florida Fire Prevention Code by reference and reference provision of nationally recognized codes, providing for the general regulation of fire prevention activities within the City of Orlando, providing for administration, readopting local technical amendments as prescribed by Florida statute, providing for severability, directing transmittal to the Florida Building Commission and the State Fire Marshal, providing for scrivener's errors, and providing for an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Ortiz, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone that would like to speak on the fire prevention code? Discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, motion carries. All right, Madam Clerk, ordinances on first read.
Ordinance 2017-24, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida relating to residential development standards in the Paramore Heritage Overlay District, amending Chapter 58 of the Land Development Code to provide flexible development standards subject to appearance review for vacant, non-conforming 1- and 2-family residential lots in the Paramore Heritage Overlay District, amending Chapter 67 of the Land Development Code to update procedures and alternative development standards for certified affordable housing projects, providing for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Hill, second by Commissioner Stewart. Is there anyone for the public? Ms. Gelzer, is this one you want to speak on? Yes, sir. Okay, you're recognized.
Lawana Gelzer, 7674 St. Stephenson Court. Mayor Dyer, the key word was flexibility. The flexibility. In the Paramore Heritage Overlay District, where my family has had properties and ties to Paramore since 1948. We're in compliance, so the ordinance won't, change. We're fine. My concern is new development and waiving the rules and regulations. And what will happen, it says for affordable housing, a community will grow when it has mixed house use. When you continue to just say affordable housing projects only, it only restricts it to one certain group of individuals who will benefit. But my concern is, Mayor Dyer, the cutoff date. If you didn't know about this before March 1st, 2017, you're screwed. Now, guess who knew? City of Orlando. Why? You own 33% of Paramore. So my concern is this might increase the property value. It might help the redevelopment of Paramore. We've been waiting a long time. We've been hearing it over and over again. But my concern is the flexibility of the rules and how you always change them for something new in that community. And because you changed it, over the last 10 years, you say there's no gentrification. I heard someone say gentrification is not a dirty word, but if you're not the person who owns the property and you're not the one that's living through it, it's an ugly word for me. It's a very difficult thing to live through and see promises after promises broken in a community, and when they had rules and regulations to protect that community. But if you drive down there, when I remember when the last census, we had 20,000 people. We're down to less than 5,000 people. So hopefully this will work. But my concern is your tactics in the past. And you say, well, this might help the community, because see, I'm concerned now that my property value is about to go up because of the Creative Village in the downtown UCF and Valencia campus. Well, they're tax exempt. And then somebody might mention, well, we're talking about a land trust. Well, land trust does not help anybody that's already owned their property. It only benefits those who are building new. So I see everything to benefit new people coming into our community, relaxing the rules and regulations, but those who've been there for the longest, those stakeholders, those who've been there through thick and thin, we're gonna be taxed out of our community. Nothing that you're putting in place will benefit us, and we've been there a long time. And so we all saying is, Mayor Dyer, I'll say it again, Wekiwa Spring Headwaters, the Orlando Rescue Mission, the new clinic in Ivy Lane, whatever nobody else wants in District 5 and Paramore, it comes there. Stop relaxing the rules for just a certain few, and make sure that can apply on the east side of town. And if it can, I guess what? I won't be here. Because when I don't have a problem with what you're doing, I don't show up. And so I'm not saying it's wrong and that I'm against it. I'm saying your past tactics make me go, what else is going to happen to my community? And what else is going to happen to the people who cannot come here and take off from work to be here? So Mayor Dyer, go ahead and approve it, the first reading. I'll be back. But look back at it and see, can it be applied anywhere else? And if this is the only place it can be done, then maybe something is wrong with it. But thank you for trying. Have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Excuse me, Ms. Gelzer? Excuse me. What was your address?
You want my daycare one? Or
No. Your community, your home address.
My home address is 7674, but if you can remember.
No, 7674 what?
No, you're not. We own property at 825 West Washington.
Ma'am, I asked for your home, I
815.
asked for your home address.
That's the
Usually
old
when you come
address.
up, you have to present
I
your home
did,
address.
I did.
No, you did not
Yes, I
complete
did.
it.
I do it every
74,
time.
76,
It's
St.
in
Stephen's,
District 6, but I just left my daycare.
$500,000 home, move back to Paramore.
What? Why would I? When you keep changing the
500
rules?
because you care.
Because I care, but I'm not gonna be stupid and let you take my house.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that's
That
enough.
was wrong. Move back. You get a house and pay some taxes in the community.
All right, that's enough. Wow, that's the first time you've ever gotten applause. Okay, discussion among commissioners. Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, you read the next one, Madam Clerk.
Ordinance 2017-25, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Orlando, Florida, relating to medical marijuana dispensaries, amending Chapter 58, Orlando City Code, to provide zoning regulations for medical marijuana dispensaries, providing a cap on the number of dispensaries, special use separation regulations, and special operational regulations, further providing definitions for the grandfathering of certain existing nonconformities, and the termination of the temporary moratorium on medical marijuana dispensaries, providing legislative findings and for severability, codification, correction of scrivener's errors, and an effective date.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Stewart, second by Commissioner Ortiz. All right, Commissioners, you'll recall that the legislature acted a couple of years ago to enact one form of marijuana that a number of growers, I guess there were six growers that were licensed, 7 growers throughout the state. And initially, the legislation or the rules that we thought were going to be adopted would allow each of the growers to be able to have one dispensary. We had 3 applications, I believe, for those dispensaries, and the rules allowed them to apply for as many dispensaries as they wanted in any of the zones. So after the first applications that we got, we placed a moratorium until we could figure out what rules the legislature was going to adopt. In the meantime, in November, the medical marijuana issue passed, and we anticipated that the legislature would act during this session to create some rules. Their bill failed at the very end of the legislative session, so our moratorium is going to be over before it appears that the legislature is going to act. So we need to go ahead. If the state can't get their stuff done, we'll go ahead and get our stuff done. So I wanted Jason to go ahead and describe what it is being proposed. Jason.
Thank you, Mayor Dyer, Commissioners. My name is Jason Burton. I'm a Chief Planner with the City Planning Division here at the City of Orlando. I'm going to go over our proposed Land Development Code amendment for medical cannabis dispensaries. First, I'll be giving a brief history about the subject, then going a little bit over the state rulemaking process, and then finally getting into the staff recommendation that recently was recommended for approval by our Municipal Planning Board at the April 18th Municipal Planning Board meeting. First, a little bit of history on the matter. In June 2014, like the mayor mentioned, there was the first version of medical marijuana, which was Charlotte's Web medical cannabis, that was passed by SB 1030 that you see there by the state. And then in 2016, the state approved 7 organizations to start cultivating dispensary and dispensing low THC cannabis, which is that Charlotte's Web strain. In July 2016, there are 3 organizations that received site-specific approvals by the city's zoning official to dispense low THC cannabis in light retail use areas. The city also in July enacted a moratorium so that we could study the issue as you know, the law is evolving on this particular matter. And of course, during that time frame, as we've been studying it till today, Amendment 2 was passed by the registered voters of Florida, and for full medical cannabis types of uses. And then, of course, in April, we have our recommendation that I'm going to be explaining to you shortly. And then, of course, our current moratorium on medical cannabis dispensaries expires July 1st. So our timing's kind of nice because we've been able to get through studying this particular issue, not just over the last few months, but we've been studying the issue at least since 2014 when the first referendum came up with the state constitutional referendum. And just to let you know, there's 7 different dispensing organizations that are in the state. The very closest one is Knox Medical here in Winter Garden. Our staff has toured their production facility. I also visited with Sotero Therapeutics in Hillsborough County and visited one of their dispensaries there. But these are the 7 different dispensing organizations that would be allowed to essentially set up a dispensary within our city limits. A little bit about the state rulemaking on the matter. Amendment 2 really stipulates that the Department of Health has a limited time frame to put into some rules for dispensing for ID cards and whatnot have you, and that both comes up for about October 3rd, 2017 will be the time when they'll have all their rules implemented. The rules that we imagine are going to be similar to the Charlotte's Web rules, if you will, as they have been drafted. Essentially, you have to be a Florida resident, you have to be under the care of a physician for 90 days, you have to have a debilitating medical condition in order to qualify to take this medication. There's no raw product that's allowed to be dispensed, no smoking, and no edibles, because if you go to one of these production facilities, they refine them into ways that can be more easily ingested into your system. People are allowed a 45-day supply that can be filled by any one of the 7 approved dispensing organizations. Knox Medical, for example, for $25 delivers within the state, anywhere within the state from Key West to Panama City is what we've noticed. Numerous legislative bills were proposed over the last session, but none ultimately passed. So basically we have the same types of rules that we've been having in place. And that issue of returning to the Department of Health to finalize those rules, which we imagine will be similar to the Charlotte's Web rules that are already in place. Now, just to give you a little bit of background on this, we've looked at some of the best practices throughout the entire country, and of course, other things that have happened within the state of Florida for looking at zoning, anti-concentration of particular uses, so no one neighborhood has the overburden of having all the dispensaries, and also allowing for equitable access to our citizens throughout the entire city. Also looking at the cap issue that I'm going to be able to explain, and some of the safety and security aspects of the ordinance that we've put into place. And of course, I mentioned we and our staff, our police officers, and we have all gone and toured the facilities of Knox Farms here in Winter Garden. They also have a dispensary that's imminently about to open in Ivanhoe Village, and the Cetera dispensary in Tampa. The Cetera dispensary in Tampa is the picture that you see up on the upper right-hand corner of your screen. Most of these uses, I tend to call, they look kind of like medical spas. They are locations where people come to learn more about how these drugs or this treatment will affect their different types of conditions. And then on the lower there, you can see the Knox Farms dispensary that's in Ivanhoe Village. One of the things that we've noticed is that a lot of different localities have been trying to put these types of uses into industrial zoning districts, and we have decided not to do that. We've decided to put these into, classify them as a light retailing use, so they can go into most of our commercial zoning districts, really our activity center zoning districts and our mixed use zoning districts. It really ensures that people that have chronic pain and terminal illnesses have safe and reasonable access to this treatment, rather than going to locations that might be in an industrial zoning district that are not rail trafficked and may not be the most secure types of places. We feel that it's best to place these things where they can be looked at and out in the open. Therefore, that's why we're proposing that this be a permitted use within our mixed use and activity center zoning districts. Similarly, in our Southeast Sector Plan, we have what's called the Village Center Land Use Designation. Those are their commercial zoning districts, so those would also qualify since they're very similar types of district to our activity center mixed use zoning districts. With that comes also some buffers and anti-concentration requirements in order to make sure that sensitive land uses are not impacted by the potential negative secondary effects of these types of uses. So we're proposing a 1,000-foot distance separation from schools, public parks, daycare centers, churches, and alcohol treatment facilities. Incidentally, the state has a minimum 500-foot separation from schools, but we're allowed to pass a more restrictive standard if we so chose. The next thing is a 200-foot distance separation from residentially zoned lands. Those are exclusively zoned residential districts, our R districts, R1, R2, etc. And then, of course, similarly in the Southeast Sector Plan, since we have some customized zoning districts down there, if you have exclusive residential future land use designation, that would apply similarly. The next thing is, in order to make sure that they're not concentrated in any one particular section of the city and allows some dispersion of these facilities, we're proposing a mile distance separation from any other dispensaries. It's similar to what Orange County already has in place for alcohol sales for off-site, incidentally. Residential uses in other dispensaries within adjacent jurisdictions would be considered when permitting a new dispensary according to the above standards within our city. And locations that are within 1,000 foot of another jurisdiction would be referred to the appropriate jurisdiction for consultation. The next thing is caps. Is really there's a 7 permit limit on the amount because that corresponds with the amount of dispensing organizations within the state. So each one of the seven state-approved organizations would be permitted to open up one medical cannabis dispensary within our city limits, subject to our location performance standards that I previously mentioned. Additional medical cannabis dispensaries could be considered in the future should the state amend their laws. We would have time to react and update our ordinance if you so chose. The next thing is the grandfather issue. Since we already have 3 locations that have been approved for Charlotte's Web, what we're proposing in this particular ordinance is to allow those dispensaries to expand to full-scale medical cannabis if permits have been submitted prior to regulations being adopted. In essence, what they're doing is making an investment in a particular property, and they would also be included as one of the 7 allowed locations within the city. So it would, if right now we have 2 that have gone and started to pull permits, one has actually probably got a certificate of occupancy but is still awaiting on state approvals to open. That's the one in Ivanhoe Village. And then, of course, those locations would not be subject to the location requirements, but it would impact the location of new dispensaries potentially. Safety and security standards, we're including some performance standards on the site plan, circulation, parking, lighting of the exterior of the facilities, and any signage is subject to the review of the appearance review officer and the planning official. A security plan is to be submitted for review by the Orlando Police Department. And also, as we've had experience with different types of uses, we're asking for providing adequate indoor waiting areas, no outdoor seating areas and queues, etc. And of course, contained within our ordinance, we're now not allowing cultivation and processing within the city of Orlando. Those tend to be in agricultural zoning districts, and our city just simply doesn't have any. Continuing on our performance standards, we do allow for delivery service because they're delivering now within the state. The delivery service operation must be affiliated with the dispensary. We prohibit drive-through and takeout windows. That would be interesting. And then allow within and around hospitals without regard to the distance separations and rezoning district regulations listed above. So if you had a 100-bed hospital or above, you're probably dispensing other types of medications that may be more potent than medical cannabis. And finally, no dispensary shall maintain a license to sell alcohol or operate a business that sells alcohol. No alcoholic beverages can be sold or consumed on the site. More performance standards, the building should comply with all applicable regulations of the law, not limited and including building code and accessibility requirements by the ADA. And all state of Florida licensings must be in place before we can approve additional dispensaries. We also have a limit on the hours of operation between the hours of 8 a.m. and 7 p.m., which incidentally is 1 hour less than what the state rules are. They allow for from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. We decided to go 1 hour more strict. In conclusion, dispensaries and medical cannabis uses are somewhat of an unproven land use and haven't been studied to the most effect that we can really anticipate all of the negative secondary effects. Therefore, we're proposing cautious and conservative yet reasonable regulations to accommodate the siting of these particular uses within our city. We already have some that have opted to come into our city today. The proposed ordinance provides a reasonable balance between ensuring access to health services and protecting sensitive land uses such as residential, schools, childcare, places of worship. And a cap is needed because we are the central city. Orlando doesn't want to become the sole jurisdiction for accommodating dispensaries in the city of Orlando. And incidentally, on a final note, it's much easier for us as staff to propose more conservative regulations at the beginning and then loosen them later on. It's much more difficult for us to go and restrict things further after we've passed our first version of this ordinance. With that, Kyle Shepard, our Chief Assistant City Attorney, who is one of the authors of the ordinance, is also available, and I'm certainly available for your questions and comments. Thank you.
Commissioner Stewart.
Yeah, I've got two quick questions. The first question is on the issue of light retailing. Tell me a little bit of the criteria. Is that a state criteria that was assigned to treat it as light retailing, or is that our interpretation?
It's really our interpretation. So if you are familiar with our land use categories that are within our land development code, we have consolidated, rather than having thousands of different types of land uses, we basically consolidate them into a very simple, organized fashion, which is quite unusual for most local jurisdictions. So light retailing, to us, seems to be the best land use that comports with that. The reason is that it's similar to what we would consider for a pharmacy. So essentially, this is the same type of use. Most of these particular facilities are being used for consultation, but you can also purchase products there, so it's not unlike a typical pharmacy that you would see throughout the city. And since that was the closest land use, we think it appropriate, and it also gets those dispensaries in the locations we feel is the best places to have them.
I'm still a little bit confused about the caps, so please explain to me again. The assumption is that each of the 7 locations can have one retail location within the designated district. Is that correct?
Potentially within the city of, are you thinking about the statewide standards or
Yeah, I
anything
mean,
about
the idea is that
ours?
there's a statewide standard that would take place so that, so if Certera decided to open up in this district,
Correct.
they would only be able to set up one location in this district, or are they unlimited because they're one of the 7 locations? 7
They don't
dispensaries?
have, the state, as far as we know, doesn't have specific standards for limiting the location. Like, there were previous regulations that were proposed to do things such as that. However, what we are proposing is that each dispensing organization within our ordinance would be allowed one location within the city of Orlando.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm trying to go back. Does that mean, is it feasible that we could have 7 inside the city of Orlando and none anyplace else in the entire district assigned by the state?
It could end up that way, but of course, we're not proposing any more than that.
I agree, but it's also possible we could only end up with 1 or 2, where Daytona Beach would have 1 and DeLand would have 1 and somebody else would have 1 as well, as long as they're different vendors.
No, that's not my understanding, is that they could potentially open up other dispensaries within the district that was previously set up.
Okay,
Those
so that's why
rules
I'm
are
going
not
back to my
applying as
question.
much
So
anymore.
these 7 are approved by the state of Florida to open as many as they want to throughout the entire state, only these 7. Is
That's
that
right,
correct?
but Mayor, if I may, the state has at various times in the past proposed caps on each of the dispensing organizations. And so you've probably heard that chatter, but none of that has been codified in their rules, and none of it has been adopted into a statute. So as of today, you can have an unlimited number of dispensaries. Now, the market will dictate how many will actually be built. It is possible in the future that the dispensing organizations will have some sort of state-imposed cap, but our cap will work independently of that. So we'll have a cap of 7 in the city, 1 per dispensing organization. And the one question that you'll have to answer in the future is, under current state rules, as there are more and more patients that are added to the registry, eventually there will be more dispensing organizations approved by the state. So at that point in the future, which is probably a little ways off, you'll have to decide whether you want to raise that cap accordingly.
Okay, good.
And Commissioner, the reason the legislature was not able to pass a bill was primarily this particular issue, the number of dispensaries and who would get the dispensaries.
Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm trying to understand. So the idea really is that any of the number of qualified dispensaries in the state, we only allow 1 per city, 1 in our city.
Correct.
So nobody. so
As
we're
it
not-
stands today, those are the 7 approved
So
dispensing
you couldn't have
organizations.
the same company going every mile down Highway 50 or every mile down 441.
Right.
Correct.
Okay.
But we'll probably have to
And is
react at some
There's-
point to whatever
Of
either
course.
the legislature or the agency does in adopting rules.
Correct, and of course, you have to remember, we also have our own performance and location standards that are, entwined within the ordinance.
I'm very pleased with where we're going in terms of the directions and those restrictions, especially in light of the guidance of the state of Florida.
Commissioner Ortiz?
Thank you, Mayor. Along the lines of what Commissioner Stewart was asking, well, actually, let me ask you this first. The 2 dispensaries that have been approved, are they more than 1 mile from each other?
The 2 dispensaries that have actually applied for building permits, the one on Knox, that's in Ivanhoe Village, is well over maybe 2 miles from the one that's proposed up by Orange Blossom Trail, just south of John Young Parkway. So the one up there happens to be, I don't remember which one it is.
And the third one that...
It's True Leave, excuse me. The third one, our understanding is different folks are looking at the potential location for the third one that previously. My understanding is Sotera Therapeutics of Hillsborough County had originally got that particular site on Edgewater, but is looking at other locations potentially. They have not come to to sign a lease on that particular
Is that the third one or the second one? The third one.
That's the third
But that one, after today, I guess, have to go through a different process, right?
Correct. In other words, once we pass an ordinance, they would have to follow any of the standards that we would be putting into place today.
Okay, here comes the second question. Do we know what Orange County is setting up in terms of the parameters and if, are they going to have an ordinance
I think they'll have an ordinance, but my suspicion, and Kyle can probably chime in here as well, is they're looking to us to lead the region to figure out what we're going to be doing first, because we tend to be the ones out there leading the region, trying to figure out where to place these types of uses first, and then others tend to follow behind us. There are other locations throughout this region that have passed more restrictive types of laws that have essentially made it impossible for folks to locate a dispensary within their jurisdiction, or they've located them in industrial districts, and of course we as staff feel that those are not appropriate locations to put dispensaries.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because if they do, are they going to consider our rules in terms of a mile from each other? And if they have one, are they going to consider the ones in the city to allow whatever dispensaries want to go ahead and locate in the Orange County area?
We would hope so, and of course, our ordinance is designed in such a fashion that we would be considering the dispensary locations that are in other jurisdictions. So, considering we're leading the charge on that, I'm hoping that other jurisdictions will follow suit and realize the research that we have done.
Excellent job. Thank you.
Okay, we do have one appearance request card. Deborah Gilmore.
Good afternoon. I'm Deborah Gilmore, 636 Delaney, Orlando, 32801. It sounds like we've got a plan here for medical marijuana. I believe it's been villainized, sadly. The medical marijuana is without the high, without the THC. And I'm all for these dispensaries. And here's why. We've all gone to Disney and been on the roller coaster rides. And they lock you in and you're stuck until the ride stops, and like it or not. My observation of someone in addiction and recovery is like that Disney roller coaster ride. You can't get off it until someone releases you. We must offer an alternative to opiates, and it is medical marijuana as an effective herbal remedy for pain, and it is not addictive and does not kill. Vincristine and vinblastine are herbal chemotherapy remedies for Hodgkin's lymphoma. And thank God there wasn't a THC component to that particular plant. It's lymphoma. This medicine, vincristine, vinblastine, saves 4 out of 5 children. And before this Madagascar periwinkle flower cure, 4 out of 5 children died. Our son Matthew was diagnosed at 16 with Hodgkin's and lived due to this plant. If medical marijuana were available when he was 33 in 2016, he would still be alive, 2015, I'm sorry, he would still be alive today, but overdosed on a minute amount of opiates, which signals the breathing to stop. 55,000 Americans die annually from drug overdoses. That's more than the Vietnam War, which lasted 10 years for Americans. Vivitrol is one answer, as it has no opiates in it. However, at $1,300 per shot per month, it is expensive. If a person is in pain due to an auto accident or whatever situation they find themselves in, for instance, Vivitrol will block all pain receptors in the brain to receive the medication for pain relief. So medical marijuana is the only option we have for pain relief in general, for MS, for epilepsy, PTSD, Parkinson's, and cancer, to name a few. Don't listen to Big Pharma, making pills that kill for billions of dollars. I don't want the neighbors in the neighborhoods. These will be medical pharmacies. It's no different than Walgreens, and I think a lot of people already know this. And I'm very glad to see the state having a plan, like I said earlier. We need medical marijuana dispensaries to stop this deadly epidemic and to help all others in need of this plant's medicinal benefits. And thank you.
Thank you. Okay, Commissioners, any further questions or discussion? Commissioner Gray, are you over there?
There, you've got some.
Is another speaker?
Yep, come speak, and then if you'll fill out a card afterwards, that'll be fine. Just state your name and your residence address.
Yes, thank you. My name is Derek Ryan. I'm actually a resident of Apopka, Florida, native of Orange County my whole life, and I'm also the chairman of the Libertarian Party of Orange County, and I appreciate the hard work that your committee put together. Clearly, they've done some research, and I appreciate the lady with her opinions, and I just want to basically implore the commission today to not get so busy with the business at hand of regulation and things that government likes to do to feel important. And remember that there's human beings at stake here, okay? This is a plant. This is a plant, guys, okay? It's harmless. The research is there. There's enough regulation from the federal government and the state government. My advice in imploring you is to not get in the way of this plant. Okay, you don't need to make it any harder for people to get this plant. It's already hard enough. People literally break the law and put their own safety and their own families on the line to get a little bit of relief every day. Okay, so please think about it. It's people, it's humans that need help. Opioids are available on every corner at every Walgreens, CVS. They don't care how close one is to the other. You go to a doctor, they give you a prescription, and you're addicted to it your whole life. Okay, let's not make this plant harder to get than opioids. Thank you.
So from our perspective, the people have already voted to allow this. We're simply, the only thing we can do is the land use decision, whether they're going to be located. If you care about this particular issue, and I know most of you you're on a different issue, the legislature's deciding what form you're going to be able to use this in, and some other things that are going to have a tough effect on some of the people that probably need to use the product. We're not having any effect. All we're doing is trying to find the right locations for it to be dispensed. So they prohibit us from regulating the business in any fashion. All we can do is just say, here's the appropriate locations in the city of Orlando. So that's what our ordinance is about. Okay, further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion indicate so by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed, motion carries. All right, that concludes the agenda business for today.